When you think of frozen things, you probably imagine snowflakes on a chilly winter day. You might imagine ice cubes in your drink or icebergs drifting on the ocean. What comes to mind when you think about ice? If you're like me, and most other people watching this video right now, I'm sure you're thinking of frozen water. Well, that's not entirely accurate. You see, there are many things other than frozen water found in ice. Some are very strange and mysterious indeed. Welcome back to my channel. This video will give you an insightful discussion about some strange and mysterious things found frozen in ice. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. Number 1. Strange bones. Yes, some of these were found in ice. In 2009, a human skeleton was discovered in a glacier on Mount Illimani in Bolivia. The body is thought to have been there for between 500 and 1,000 years. In 2016, scientists found the perfectly preserved remains of a giant sloth that died 10,000 years ago in a glacier in Argentina. The remains were so well preserved that its claws were still fully extended, as if it had been frozen instantly while fighting off some unknown predator. Number 2. Odd-looking creatures. Yes, there are even familiar species of animals found frozen in ice. In 2016, an odd creature was discovered in a block of ice by paleontologist Claudia Tambusi while working in Antarctica with scientists from Florida State University, FSU. It was a type of marine worm called a polychaete. These creatures are similar to modern earthworms and leeches and use their jaws and teeth to feed on dead organic matter in the sediment at the bottom of bodies of water. When thawed, the creature began moving and eating. Scientists were able to determine that it lived in the Southern Ocean near Antarctica before dying a few years later. Strange. Number 3. Fossils. Yes, fossils too. In 2011, an ancient crocodile skull was found in an ice-filled cave in Colombia. It is estimated that the skull was between 40 and 50 million years old. In 2017, a well-preserved castorid fossil, which resembles a beaver-rat hybrid, was found at the edge of an Argentinian glacier. Scientists consider it to be about 4 million years old. Strange. Number 4. Lewis, the mummified child found on the Aconcagua Glacier in Argentina. In 2004, a 27-year-old woman from San Juan, Argentina, named Luciana Murer, went missing after going to pray at the Catholic shrine located on a glacier near her home. 2 years later, her body was found at the bottom of a glacial crevice under 15 feet, 4.5 meters, of ice with only her head exposed. She had apparently fallen to her death and then frozen in place before eventually being uncovered by glacier movement. The remains, known as Lewis, were so well preserved that they appeared as though the woman had only recently passed away. Her clothes were still intact, and she even had her shoes on. Strange. Number 5. Algae. In Antarctica, scientists have found algae frozen for more than 1 million years. In Siberia's Yakutia region, so much organic matter is stored in the permafrost that it's estimated to be 10 times greater than the rest of the world's carbon emissions combined. Even in Alaska, people have found woolly mammoth carcasses and ancient tools preserved for millennia by permafrost. Number 6. Ancient air. On a recent polar expedition, British scientists stumbled upon, listen to this, ancient air trapped within solid ice, 2 miles underneath the surface of Antarctica's ice sheet. The ancient air is thought to have been trapped during a sudden and natural drop in temperature for just 20 years. This rapid change would have trapped these pockets of air within the ice before it froze completely. As the ice gradually accumulated, those air pockets were sealed away from the modern atmosphere for 1 million years. In fact, this ice core is so old that it's been radiocarbon dated back to almost 1 million years before the modern appearance of human civilization, and just over 800,000 years before the first humans walked on Earth. Number 7. Turtle with undigested food. Over the past few years, there have been incidents of animals being found frozen in ice with undigested food still in their throats. This happened to a turtle who was found in a block of ice on the beach, and another was found in Siberia. Nobody knows how these animals got into the ice or why they still had food in their throat, but the most likely explanation is that they went into a glacier through an underwater entrance and got trapped there. They probably lived for some time before eventually dying of starvation. Number 8. A woman nicknamed the Ice Maiden. One of the most bizarre things found frozen in ice was a woman who was found in Siberia. She was so well preserved that it looked like she had only just passed away, and there was no sign of decay on her body at all. Curiously, the Ice Maiden has tattoos all over her body that are unlike any other tattoos that have been seen before. The Ice Maiden's tattoos depict animals and plants, and some think that they may represent the afterlife, as there was a small container by her feet that contained wheat and 2 crockets. Number 9. An ancient baby woolly mammoth. Another strange thing found in ice, this time in Siberia as well, was a perfectly preserved baby woolly mammoth. This creature lived about 10,000 years ago, and its body is really well preserved. They believed that the mammoth fell into an ice hole and was unable to climb out, so it eventually froze to death. Number 10. Sheep. Sheep? Yeah, sheep. Sheep are animals known to graze on dry land and do not stray far from home. But how did a sheep end up frozen in ice? Several years ago, a sheep carcass was found frozen in an iceberg. It is believed that the animal fell off a boat and floated up to this iceberg, which killed it by freezing it very quickly. Number 11. Alien. Another example is a frozen object that was found in Russia. It looked like a human-like creature with its nose pressed into the ice as if it had been trying to breathe outside air through the ice, but it never made it. The thing is, the scientists who discovered it were sure that it wasn't human. What they found was the body of an unknown creature that died about 2,000 years ago, covered in fur and with arms that were able to grasp things. It is thought that the body had been frozen into ice shortly after dying, but no one knows how or why it happened. This mysterious creature is now on display in the Russian city of Yekaterinburg, but people are wondering why it was found at Lake Shira, west of the Ural Mountains. The lake freezes over during the winter and has a depth of about 26 meters or 85 feet, so there's no way that this little body could have reached the lake by itself, according to a professor named Professor Valentin Dezurov. As a rule, these creatures were buried in the permafrost or carried off by glaciers. So this is yet another mystery surrounding frozen things found in ice. Number 12. Giant human finger. Speaking of ice, have you heard about the one that contained a giant human finger? Workers at a power plant near Hunan City in China were making their rounds when they found an unusual chunk of ice. The debris was roughly 50 centimeters long and weighed around 220 pounds. They had no idea what it was, but there did appear to be a shape inside. They decided to contact local officials. When they did, the ice ended up in the Changsha Cultural Relic Bureau, where it was analyzed and found out that the object encased in the ice was an ancient human finger. It is not known whether or not the person had died while getting trapped in the ice or if they died after due to an infection. An early analysis of the finger determined that it was about 2,000 years old. The bone got exposed when someone had cut into the ice while trying to remove it. However, since there were no other pieces found nearby, it is uncertain how big this mysterious chunk of ice was. Scientists further analyzed the bone for more clues and found that it belonged to a middle-aged man who lived during China's Han Dynasty, 2006 BC to 2020 AD. They also found that it looked like the man had suffered an injury before his death, as there were some scar-like marks on the finger. The ancient Chinese custom was to cut off a dead person's finger and bury it in their graves, while another Chinese custom was to keep long hair in the graves for the afterlife. But because of the gruesome nature of this discovery, it is possible that this finger belonged to someone who had died in battle. If you've made it this far and still think ice means frozen water, unfreeze your mind and try to imagine what other things might be found in ice. Cold, isolated places, places with few people, low population density, these are the kinds of places where strange things are found buried in ice or snow. Thank you so much for checking it out. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video today, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more.